Hi everyone, I am back for another episode of Totally Junk Journal Round 2. Last week we started our new signature by putting together this fun pleated pocket with pleated pocket edge. Well, when we did that, we made this into a pocket on this side, and the two opposing sides of the envelopes are over here, and that's going to be a little hard to write on, so that's usually the places I like to put corner tucks or some kind of belly band or something. So today we're going to make two corner tucks to put on these pages, and I'm going to use just this is like a return bill envelope or some such thing as that. I have glued the flap down. I'm going to use both layers of it because a single layer of envelope is not always that great for a tuck. You need a little bit of sturdy paper behind there. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use a little bit of sturdy paper, and I am going to, well, let's see here. I'm going to use this lovely little circle maker just to give myself a curve. And then I'm going to come straight from the edge to where the curve starts and do the same thing here. And I'm just working on the back side of the envelope. And I'm going to cut that out. Okay, so now I have this fun curved tuck spot, but that's kind of boring, so we're going to decorate it, of course. And I'm going to take my handy dandy little 1/4-inch hole punch. This is just like a standard office punch. This happens to be just one I really like a lot rather than the one with the handles. And I am going to come in here and I'm going to punch 1/4-inch holes all along here, all along the curve. Okay. Now I have some yarn. I have some, this is this is Pro Cotton. This is embroidery floss. Some kind of something that we can run through these holes and make a little decoration. And I think I'm going to use this yarn. This is all just scrap stuff that I've got from other projects. I think it needs to be more than one layer thick. Let's go for, I think 3 does it. I think 3 will do just nicely. However, I'm thinking, guys, I'm thinking. I want to make make a little bow right there. So I'm thinking about how I have to make this work to make a bow right there. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half, all 3 strands. We'll see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'm going to open up my envelope a little bit, and I'm going to put a little glue right there, and I'm going to tuck this in so that the ends of it are glued in. Okay. But yet it comes out this hole. That's what I want it to do. So let's get it out through the hole first. Okay. Maybe I should bring it in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Well, now I'll try to stay in frame. Okay, so I've taken that one out through that hole. I'm going to take this one out through the hole on the other end. I know, I just made it complicated. Okay, so now I have this little tail and that little tail, and I'm going to just put some glue in here, and I'm going to tuck that in there, just like that, so that it gets into the glue. And I'm going to put some glue over here and tuck that in so it gets to the glue. Okay, get in there, get in the glue. You need to get in the glue too. There we go. And I'm just going to push these down and glue the tail, the ends between the, there. So now they're just kind of glued into there. Last minute decisions, you know. Okay, so they're glued inside the pocket, and now we can just take our ends and weave them in and out of these holes. Don't pull too hard right this second, because remember, we just put the glue on there. Okay, now we're going to take the other end and do the same thing. Just weave it in and out. These are nice big holes. If you have trouble, I could have put the yarns into a big-eyed needle or catch them with a crochet hook or something like that. I thought I could handle it. Now what's going to happen is they're both going to come up one hole apart. I just got lucky that way. Oh, no they're not. See, Tanya just did that wrong. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I did it the same way again. Oh, guys. Okay. they're going to go down through here. Like so. Talk about making the same mistake twice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them up through the same hole. Whether it was one hole apart or the same hole, doesn't really matter. You can tie your bow and either way. So see, they're going to come through the same hole. Go in there. I got two, but I didn't get the third one. All right, there we go. Okay, so now they're through the same hole, and I'm just going to tie a knot, sort of, like so, and just tie it like I was going to tie my shoes. Okay. Now what you might want to do is come in here and right underneath your tails, just right underneath them, put a little dot of glue just so your bow doesn't come untied. Okay, and I'm going to just clip these off. And now I have my first pocket, and it's going to go right on here, like so. I'm not going to put it right in the gutter because that tends to cause bulk at the gutter, and I don't want that problem. So I am going to, I'm going to wait for it to dry. Don't want this part right there really to stick, and I've got quite a bit of glue in there, and so I'm going to wait for it to dry, and then I'll stick it down. And while that dries, we can work on our pocket for the other side. And I decided I wanted to use this envelope because it's a little sturdier. It doesn't have the same window in the back. It's solid. So I'm going to cut a square. Is this wide enough to make a hole? Just, yep. I can do that. All right. I'm going to just turn it into a square. So I'm going to go like that. Give myself an idea of where that is. And I'm just going to cut it off. I may need to cut this down just a little bit. No, actually, it's probably okay. I may cut it down just a little bit. It looks like it's a little big for that page, just a touch. So I'm going to cut off a little bit over here. And I'll show it to you. Just give me a second. It just has a little bit more room on the page. Means I can get it away from the gutter just a little bit better. So I am going to do that. Now, you could go through and poke holes, tiny holes, but I'm just going to stitch. I have a needle that has a sharp point. Now, I have more than one needle with a sharp point, but let's see if this one will work. And since I used the yarn on this other pocket, I think I'll use the yarn on this one, but I'm only going to use one thickness of this. Yeah, one thickness of this yarn. It's whether or not I can get it into this needle. I was going to use the Pearl Cotton And I may still do that if I have trouble with this needle. Which I don't think that yarn's going to go in there. Yeah. Fibbed. Went right in. Okay. Maybe we'll use 2 threads. I want plenty of thread, but I don't yarn, but I don't want so much that it makes me crazy trying to stitch it. So let's see what we've got here. A little bit more maybe. And I'm going to tie a bit of a knot, not much, just a circle it around thing. I'm not going to pull it tight. What I'm doing is just giving more surface to let the glue stick to it. So I'm going to once again open this up, put a little glue in there, and let the yarn stick to the glue. Okay. And I always have trouble with buttonhole stitch. I always have to think about it 2 or 3 times to figure out how I'm doing it. It's one of those stitches I'm not familiar with. So a lot of times what I do instead is just do, okay, come on. All right. I didn't get it even, and so it's not wanting to pull through. There we go. But I really like the buttonhole stitch, so I always have to think about it when I'm doing it. So what I try to do is I bring it over the top like this, and then I poke my next hole. And this is where poking your holes ahead of time might be easier, but and I keep this on my finger. Okay, let's see if we can get this straightened out here. And then it's on my finger. And I take my needle and I go through that loop. And it might not be perfect, but it makes me reasonably happy to do it this way. I come from the back. Okay. Poking holes might be a good idea. So, uh-oh. See, I let go of it because I was having trouble. I come from the back and then I go through that loop. Okay, so the first part does not always look great, and I don't worry about it. What I am going to do is I'm going to stop long enough to take my tiny little hole punch and punch some holes just to see if that will alleviate my problem. Another thing you can do is you can do this sort of like in a pattern and do it longer in some places. We'll see if that works. But remember, if you just keep hold of this piece. Come from the back. And then this loop that's on your finger, you're going to take your needle through. And what it does is it leaves an edge right there. It's not perfect right there, but the rest is kind of cool. And poking holes seems to be the way to go, so. If I let it go, if I turn it, then I lose my fingers to hold my little loop of thread. Okay, now I'm going to punch the rest of the holes because that really made it much easier. And they're all uneven. If you wanted it even, you might want to mark it. And okay, there's always this issue about the corner. And what I sometimes do is go through this corner hole two or three times. It just kind of works it around the corner a little bit. If we had rounded our corner instead of squared it, it would have been a little bit different, but I have a plan for the front of this pocket, so, and see, it's not perfect, but this is a totally junk journal. Okay, now we have to end this some way that we can tie it. And I'm just going to tie it right back here in a little knot because the glue that we're going to use to put this pocket on will help to hold it. So I just have a little knot, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to catch that when I glue down my pocket. Okay, so now I have these two pockets to glue on, just like so. Glue. And I'm just going to come down right here, make a little L on the corner. And then, like I said, I'm not going to put it right in the gutter because that just builds too much bulk right there. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I'm going to catch these in that glue. Oops, you can't see. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to catch these in that glue. And I'm going to put this right there. Okay. Then I can just go back and trim off this little bit. Yeah. There we go. Now, we have these two white pockets. This one's got its bow on it, so it's kind of cute because it's... Oh dear. Okay. I gotta have my pin for my glue. Really? I have this brand new little magnet so that I could put my pin on the magnet. And what happens? Okay. It's not in my papers. There it is. Okay. Now then, let's back out a little bit so that you can see better. Sorry about all that mess. All right, this one is kind of cute because it's got this little bow, but this one needs a little decoration. So what we're going to do is that's probably plenty big enough. I'm going to cut a square and I'll probably have to make it smaller, but I'm just going to make a cute little triangular piece, which that'll do just fine, just like that. Okay. And I think I want to decorate it a little bit. Let's just use this pin. we're just going to do some little squirrelies. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That looks good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on just like on the corner right here, just there and there. So it will actually be a tuck plus a secret writing spot. Let's put the pin on the little magnet this time. And we don't need a lot of glue, just a little tiny bit. And we're just going to glue it right on there, like so. So now we have this little tiny tuck right there. We have a bigger tuck right there. And we have another tuck over here. So we have made a bunch of little pockets this week in our Totally Junk journal. Let me bring you in nice and close so you can see them. And guys, I sure hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying this series. Let me know what you might want to see. Might want to revisit. Tell me down in the comments what sorts of things you would like to see me do in this series. If there's anything that I can, I would love to try to accomplish. The other thing is, I'm going to start asking you to please like, subscribe, and click that little bell for notifications. I'm going to read you a quote from my 1001 Ways to Creativity and move on with my day. The artist is a receptacle for emotions that come from all over the place. From the sky, from the earth, from a scrap of paper, from a passing shape, from a spider's web. Pablo Picasso. More and more and more of the quotes I'm in love with are from Pablo Picasso. Okay, guys, go have fun. Make some art. Bye-bye.